Hey everybody, Professor Snart just checking in for our online creative writing class. So I'm in our course right here looking at our due dates. We've just had our first unit due date pass, which was Monday, January 16th. And now we're on to Unit 2. Of course, Unit 1 was very straightforward, so if it took you, 20 minutes, I'd be surprised. Really just a quick introduction opportunity, and in addition to the introduction part, it also had you using one of the features we'll return to in Blackboard, which is the discussion board, which for some people might be a little bit new. So the purpose of Unit 1 is partly just to get people feeling situated and comfortable within the course as far as layout and how things work, using the discussion board, but obviously sharing some information about yourself as a individual, but also kind of focused on the writing aspect, your particular tastes and interests and that kind of thing. So it was great to see the diversity of taste and interests in the class. People are, across the board as far as what they're reading, what they're interested in writing, and all of that kind of stuff. In fact, one of the kind of golden rules for any writing class that I teach is that it is sometimes counterintuitive, especially for novice writers, that to be a good writer, you are and must be a good reader. Some people feel like they don't really want to read material or stuff, or they don't want to read material that is like or in the genre that they themselves want to be writing in. You feel like you don't want to be influenced or end up copying or something like that. Nothing could be further from the truth. Being a good, attentive, and wide reader, reading lots of different kinds of stuff, even if you hate it after you're done, that can be one of the most useful lessons as a writer. Like, why do I hate this thing? What is not working about this piece of writing? If you can begin to answer that question, then you've really helped to improve your own writing. So again, it's really fundamental to be a good and active reader if you want to be a good writer. And clearly people's tastes and inclinations emerge from these introductions, and it does seem like people are again, really across the board when it comes to their interests as readers. So it's good to reflect on the connection, in fact, for yourself between you as a reader and you as a writer, and how you see those two things as interrelated. Okay, so we move into, actually I'll click into our due dates here, into Unit 2, and you'll notice that in our due dates list here, there's a couple of, in this case, there's a couple of items in Unit 2, both due Monday, January 23rd, so basically next week. It's Tuesday the 17th when I'm recording this. So be sure you complete all the aspects of the unit, and I clicked myself into Unit 2, which is called Working Like a Writer. We have a reading assignment from our Creative Writer's Handbook, obviously, and then the first writing exercise is very limited in the sense that the word count here, the total length is 300 to 500 words, especially in terms of the kind of writing that this is requiring, the personal reflection sort of a thing. That word count is short. It's very short. You'll find yourself hitting that very soon. And I'd actually like to challenge you, if for my own benefit, for nothing else, to limit yourself to no more than that 500-word maximum. Partly because it forces you to just say things that are contributing to the piece of work that you're writing. So again, one of the things that I reiterate throughout the writing classes that I teach is that a lot of times, like you might take the poetry writing class, the fiction writing, the intro to creative writing, in a lot of ways the writing part is not what's challenging for people or where they have the most room for improvement. It's actually in their work as revisers and editors of their own work. So it could just as easily be called Intro to Creative Writing Editing, or revising really is the better term. So just getting the thing on paper is the easiest step, and it's only step one. It's really working through revising and strengthening that piece of writing, whatever it happens to be, that is the bulk of the work of the writer. So 10% is just getting it down on the screen the first time. There's still that 90% of going back and really allowing yourself to delete, to change things, to decide what the piece of writing is trying to do, and is it doing that effectively, and how can I make it do that more effectively. So it's really the revision piece, and obviously limiting yourself to a certain number of words is an important part of that, because you're not just allowing yourself to go on and just get things on paper as if, quantity equals quality, that sort of a thing. This first writing exercise is also fairly accessible in as much as you're dealing with a personal topic, so it has a kind of informality to it. You're writing in the I voice, obviously. And you're using that device that's important for all writers, the device of memory, whether you're thinking back a long time or to something very recent. It's something that memory is a tool that we all use, again, regardless of the kind of writing. You could be immersed in the most sort of out there sci-fi, fantastical type of narrative and universe that you've created, but the emotional connection that you want your reader to feel with characters, or that you want to display or to draw out, whether it's, again, character or narrative based, so much of that you are drawing on your own memory of having impactful moments have happened in your life. So working with memory is not just going to happen when you do something like this focused exercise where you actually are consciously recalling a memory, but this is one of those tools that's really key to your work as a writer. The assignment details then are here, hopefully straightforward. There's a little reminder about submitting your document so that it's formatted nicely and I can access it so we don't have technical issues like that. But obviously, if you have questions, then be in touch with me. The other component to unit number 2 is our first more formal discussion board assignment. So I just click myself into there. There's actually a link to an interesting multimedia piece. It's hard to even categorize it as a particular genre, but it's sort of reflection by a published author on her process and approach and thoughts about the writing process for her, but it's really more than that. It's sort of hard to explain. It's one of those, you have to see it to really wrap your mind around it. And so the discussion board then is focused on your interaction with that multimedia piece. So obviously you want to spend some time clicking through the links in there, and then you'll find some slightly more focused questions within the discussion board itself. So unit 2, 2 components here, the writing exercise, the discussion board, and I think this unit, much more so than the first obviously, is more reflective of the kind of work that we'll be doing for the course. So by all means, if you have questions or concerns or technical things coming up, you really do want to be in touch with me as soon as possible. Okay, so that should be it. I'll be back in touch in a little while, and like I said, be in touch if you have any questions.